all the element called format Here 15.
Well, when I was a kid, I listened to everything from every period of jazz. You know, I'm not partial to one period. Some certain people they only like bebop, or they only like big band music, or they only like avant-garde. I've liked everything, and everybody in my family these big record collections. So I used to hear all those people, you know, in the background when I was a kid, because before I was really sophisticated enough to know who they were. It's just part of the ambient sound of your youth or your infancy. It's just floating around the air, you know. You're absorbing it when you're not really aware of it, but you are absorbing it, you know. I've always liked what they call modern jazz guitar. I mean, Charlie Christian, people like, when I was a kid, those are the people I listened to, you know. Around the time I was 14 or 15, I mean, because I used to play rock and roll and all, you know, I played, you know, Dwayne Eddy, all that stuff, The Ventures, Link Ray, and, you know, all that stuff, but at a certain age, I just figured I wanted to play, you know. So I mean, I had a teacher who gave me those records, you know, like, what was it? The Wes Montgomery, Barney Kessel records I listened to. I used to sit there and listen to them, try to figure out what it was they were doing, you know. I mean, and I got really fascinated with that. And that's why I pretty much stuck to the way I'm playing, the kind of guitar I have, you know. You know, because there's a certain sound I like, and I try to get to that. I mean, you have to modify it in certain situations. But, you know, but it's really weird how, you know, the guitars change over the years, like, you know, like different styles and different equipment, you know. Because I know there's certain people that they say that the sort of typical guitar sound or jazz guitar sound is kind of stayed and dated, you know. But I mean, I figure people have to do what works for them. I mean, I hear other people who don't play that way. I mean, who don't play the way I play. I like the way they play, but I wouldn't want to play that way, you know. But I like hearing them that way, you know, what they do. But I wouldn't want to do it, you know. I mean, it's like, you know, you might see somebody wearing something that looks good on them, but you don't think it would look good on you, you know what I mean? It's kind of like that, you know.
How did you come from this, you know, being rooted in this traditional guitar sound, Charlie Christian, you know, Wes Montgomery? What happened that took you
I just got this
to more
game,
improv?
you know, like, I mean, that sort of changed it around, you know, because, I mean, when I was going to school, you know, I just wanted, I mean, the reason I left where I was, because there was no professional music scene. I mean, this is a really small town, you know, and there weren't that many musicians, and all I did, there were a few musicians who worked, because there weren't that many gigs. And I figured, you know, like I'd be like my guitar teacher. He taught during the day and he played at night and on the weekends. You know, there are a few guys that did the work there was to do. It wasn't like New York City, you know, like, you know. And there were a few musicians, and the people who sounded good there in New York, they're just like routine, you know what I mean? There's so many guys, you can go down the subway and hear guys that good or better, and they're all looking for a gig. Everyone's looking for a gig, you know. So, I mean, it's just, and I realized at a certain point I had to learn more about music. I had to get out of where I was in my environment. If it was going to be like a professional, I wanted to be a professional musician, you know. I realized at a certain point I was not going to be a music teacher. You know, the reason I did that is because musicians always used to say, like, well, if you get a teaching degree, you can always fall back on teaching. That's like a standard thing with musicians, you know. Get a teaching degree, you know, you can always teach. And I didn't realize how much work went into teaching, and I realized once you got into music education, you wouldn't be able to perform, you know, because if you got to be there every day, you know, you can't travel, and you can't really be a performer if you're going to be an educator in most cases, because the workload is just too extreme. I realized I really wanted to be a player, you know. I really wanted to do that, and then I realized, you know, if you're going to play, you're just going to play. You just have to deal with the consequences of making that choice, and just, you know, sort of fly by the seat of your pants. I mean, I don't want to be rude or vulgar, but like to say you can always fall back on education, but if you're going to be a musician on the end, you can fall back on your ass when the gig gets canceled, you know. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or you can't get paid, you know, you're just out there, so you just have to improvise, do something.
Absolutely.
That's the way it is, you know. I mean, so, you know.
So it's a choice, not only to be a musician, but to be a professional improviser
Well, I mean, I had to
in
do
the
it.
world.
I mean, there's something inside of me that makes me do this. It's like some perverse sense of vocation. You know, I mean, that's what it really is. I mean, it's like a calling, you know. The only reason you do it is because you have to do it, you know.
That's all you can do.
Yeah, it's, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I've had to do real jobs from time to time, but it's like, you know what I mean? It's like, for whatever reason, certain people are going to be musicians no matter what. So, I mean, they're beyond reform. They're incorrigible. So, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So what do you do with them? You know what I mean? You know what I mean? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Send to a re-education camp or something. try this at home, kids. Stay in school, get a real job. Mom and Dad are right.